Hello there, fellow math enthusiasts. Mrs. Delzati here. Today we're taking a look at our probability and statistics unit. We're looking at notes day 8, and we're going to be focusing on categorical data and their graphs. So what is categorical data? Well, first of all, it is something that represents qualitative data. Something like a category, okay? Examples of that, something like people's eye color or types of music that people like or types of candy, okay? Things like that. And what we're going to see is that for categorical data, we will either use a pie chart or we can use a bar graph. All right, so pie charts are used to display our categorical data. The size of each slice is going to go ahead and correspond to the relative frequency. Okay, kind of deals with some probability here. It's useful when looking at the sum of all the categories to represent the whole, and it's used if there are not too many categories. If we had like 100 different slices, we wouldn't want to deal with that. All right, so as an example, we're going to go ahead, we're going to talk about a large bag of Skittles. And in that bag, I've got 15 red, I've got 25 purple, I've got 20 green, 30 yellow, and 10 orange. Now, if we go ahead and we total those up, there were a total of 100 Skittles in that bag. Now, to make that pie chart, we've got to look at some information, okay? Not just, or other than just counting each color up. All right, so I've given us a little chart here with the number or the frequency that each color has occurred. To find that relative frequency, we take the number and we divide it by the total. So 15 over 100, that's 0.15. 25 over 100, that is 0.25. 20 over 100, that is 0.2. 30 over 100, that is 0.3. And then 10 over 100, that's 0.1. All right, we use this relative frequency to figure out what the size of the slice is going to be. All right, now we know that there's 360 degrees in a circle. So to figure out basically how many degrees we're going to be dealing with, we take that 360 and we multiply it by the relative frequency. So 360 times 0.15, we're going to see that that slice is going to be about 54 degrees. 360 times 0.25, that slice is going to be about 90 degrees. 360 times 0.2, that slice is going to be 72 degrees. And then 360 times 0.3, that slice is going to be 108 degrees. And then 360 times 0.1, that's going to be 36 degrees. All right, now how we go ahead and how we make our pie chart then? Well, first of all, I'm going to draw the center. And you can choose any of these to go ahead and start with. I'm going to start with the 90-degree angle one because I know that that is going to be a quarter of the circle. All right, and that 90-degree angle, that one is going to represent our purple. And the purple, that was 25% of our total bag, okay? Now, sometimes we go ahead, we see different shadings inside, and sometimes we see with our legend what each one of these is going to go ahead, it's going to represent. So this was my purple. All right, one thing that I do want to let you know is you do not need a label and a legend. Okay, so I'm going to do both for this. Here's my label, here's my legend, but you don't need both of those. All right, so I took care of my 90. I do see that 54 and 36 together, those give me 90 as well. So I'm going to do the other part of that. 54% or 54 degrees, which was 15%, and then the orange, which was 10%. So maybe something that looks right about like that. I'm going to say that these dots are going to represent what I've got going here. This was my red, and that was 15%. And again, you can go ahead, you can put that as part of a legend. That was red. And then we had the orange being 10%. All right, so I'm going to make some checks like that one. There's orange. And then the last two I needed to get up there were the green and the yellow together. That makes 72%. The 108 I know is bigger than 90, so I'm going to go something just like that. Here is my green. Green, what do we say? That was 20%. And then I have my yellow. Yellow, I have 30%. Yellow happens to be my favorite Skittle, just so we know. All right, let's get this here. My pen stopped working, so hang tight. There we go. So green looked like that. And then my yellow was just blank. All right, so we can go ahead, we can either look at our pie chart, or we can look at our numbers, or we can look at our frequency. We can answer some questions on that. The most popular color we see was our yellow one. That was the biggest slice. And then our least common color, well, that one was our orange one. That was our smallest slice. All right, and that is our pie chart. So we can also go ahead, we can use this information to figure out some information with our bar graphs. Now, a bar graph, just so we remember, that is used to also display our categorical data. The bars should have equal length for meaningful comparison. With our horizontal axis, the horizontal axis is going to be what our categories are. So in this case, it's going to be our colors. And our vertical axis is either going to be the frequency, or it's going to be the relative frequency. They both mean the exact same thing. Okay, they both show the exact same thing. All right, so with our Skittle colors down here, I have given you what our numbers were again, and the relative frequency, that was just 0.15, 0.25, 0.2, 0.3, and 0.1, and we know how to do the relative frequency by doing the number divided by the total. All right, so my categories here, I've got the red, I have the purple, I have the green, I have the yellow, and I have the orange. And then along the side, I'm going to go ahead and do my frequency. So I'm counting by fives here. All right, and I'll label that with frequency along the side. And then I can go ahead, I can do my bars. For red, I had 15. For purple, I had 25. For green, I had 20. For yellow, I had 30. And then for my orange, I had 10. All right. Now that was doing it for frequency. We can do it with relative frequency as well. So with relative frequency, it's going to go ahead. It's going to be the exact same idea there, okay? Only you've got your decimal points instead, and we change that to relative frequency. Okay, all I did was I just went ahead and I copied my chart from up above there. Okay, so it's literally the exact same picture, only the relative frequency is being used instead of the frequency. All right, and again, we can go ahead, we can answer some questions based on our picture here. What Skittle color seems to appear the most in this bag of Skittles? Well, that's the highest bar. That is yellow. Okay, would it be safe to say that all bags will have the same amounts? And hopefully we're all saying no to that. This is just representative of one bag. And would our numbers be the same if we had a smaller bag? And again, that's no, because it's completely random. All right, so kind of to sum up some things about statistics. Statistics is used to collect data. It's used to analyze data. We're going to focus a lot on mean, median, and mode. And it's also used to draw some conclusions. Why is it important? Well, it's important to be an informed consumer, to make some good decisions, and to evaluate decisions that will affect your life. And then our process for this is to understand what the problem is at hand, to decide what and how we want to measure something, to collect some data, to summarize it, to give a formal data analysis, and then to go ahead and to interpret the results. Okay, so this was categorical data. This was us being able to understand our pie charts and our bar graphs. Dalzadi is done for today. I will see you in class.